in the industry as a director of photography, the projects that have been the most successful have been the ones that were organized from the start. An organized pre-production process can elevate your projects more than you can imagine. And talking about the pre-production process, there are a lot of topics that we could explore, especially as a cinematographer. But the main one I want to cover is something that I struggled with for a long time, which is shot listing. A shot list usually maps out everything that will happen in a scene of a film or video by describing each shot within it. Consider this a roadmap or guideline that you will follow to stay on track to execute your project. Looking at the creative process, this is usually between a director and a cinematographer. But in terms of logistics and scheduling, this is also done with an assistant director. Shot lists are especially critical in managing and preparing your scenes for your project. Making any type of video demands knowledge of shot type, camera movement, lighting, actor blocking, and so much more. Here at Tenfold, whenever we take on a project, the cinematographer and director work in a very collaborative process. This is usually in the ideation of the project as well as how you plan to execute it. And this is just something that comes with time and experience and getting a lot of projects under your belt. Working as a director or director of photography as those sole roles, it's kind of difficult to consider everything in a shot list. But collaborating on these things will iron out all these details. I myself, like this industry, am a visual learner. I like my information displayed with pictures and diagrams, so I myself can visualize what needs to be done. The one thing that I will stress that is the most important in this process is staying organized, and especially implementing a system that helps you do that. The system that we like to use and the sponsor of today's video is Milanote. I like to think Milanote as a bulletin board for all your thoughts and ideas, as well as a space to creatively organize them in a collaborative workspace. Instead of just talking about all those features, we're going to show you by going over one of the boards that we made for a recent fashion film. I'm going to show you how I organize all my thoughts and ideas, as well as go over my creative and technical shot list. Here's the board that we're going to be looking at, and the first thing I want to talk about Milanote is how easy it is to use in terms of dragging everything on and just typing any out ideas that you want to. It's a very low resistance in terms of getting your ideas out there and organizing them. And this is how we like to organize our boards in terms of what a project looks like. We have the original brief that was given to us by the client. This was just a lookbook campaign and originally what they wanted to use and the original idea that they wanted to go with. And what I really like about Milanote is dragging certain documents into it. I don't want to re-download something and reopen another page or anything like that. This just automatically puts me in Milanote and then I can stay in Milanote. So if I have a PDF in here that I want to look at, which is our deck that we pitched back. And this was, again, a very collaborative process and kind of different from our other decks that we do because we're kind of fleshing out the story and what we wanted to do. So we have like the main title and then all the imagery in the deck relates to how we will light and the tonality as well as feel of the whole piece. So we have the introduction to the project and then we kind of broke down how the edit will play out and the whole piece. So we have the therapy scene, we have the Sherlock Homie, which was the detective scene, and then we go to the tracksuit scene, back to the therapy, and then the painting one, him sitting in the chair, back to therapy, and then we go into actually how we do these decks in terms of, hey, this is how it's going to look and feel, and present it in a very clean and organized manner. And then also just a thanks, done, right? So very different from the decks that you usually would send to pitch an idea. This is just very detailed in exactly how we do it. And then the client, in this case, the brand, really likes this in terms of painting everything out because he's very knowledgeable in the production process as well. Our boards in terms of Milanote kind of vary between what the project is and also how the project has been done. My general board, when I click into it, is how I like to look at things. So I have my general idea, the big ideation, and then I like to split it up into specific things. So this is a location scout that we did, and I like to just dump all my pictures in here in case the director or anybody else wants to look at them. And then this is using the Sunseeker app in terms of looking at all the rooms. And then I can just drag and drop these pictures in and it's very convenient. In the other column, I like to keep all my CAD rage. So this is just shooting on different focal lengths using this camera that we want to use. And then I just have pictures of all the props outside. I can click into these and look at them specifically. I can view it as a gallery if I just want to, get on a call and talk about them specifically. And then if I go back to my main page, you have crew and gear, everything that I considered. This is very low level in terms of listing and all that stuff. But the main thing that we're going to look at, which is the biggest board and biggest part of this, is the shot listing process. I know you can look at this and this seems a little bit intimidating, but we're going to go off section by section and kind of take apart in terms of what I see and how I like to organize my thoughts and ideas. First thing that we did is break up each scene and say, how are we going to shoot this and where is the location we're going to be? What are the main props as well as shooting angles and main references? For the scene 1, this is the therapy scene. We listed our key props, the location, as well as the shooting angles that we're primarily going to do. So this just gives my art department idea of what they need to source, as well as the shooting location in terms of pictures. Where are we looking at specifically? What things do they have to dress? Then the next scene, which was the detective, again, we have our main props, and then the main references that I have here in terms of what we want to be looking at, as well as some references related to their old campaigns and custom newspapers that we could possibly do. And then we have the location down here and any other reference photos. So I did this for each scene, and then the tracksuit one and the Picasso print, and just to showcase, hey, these are our main references. This is what we want to do, and here are our shooting angles. And these were just photos that I dragged and dropped from the Scout. So I would just, take this, I can go back here, and I want this one specifically in here, and I can just insert it anywhere I want, as well as drag it even out if it's not related. And now we can properly look at how I would shot list. So this is super refined in terms of what we started with and now where we are. But what I really like about Milanote is that you can visually look at this and I'm like, okay, I know what shots are going where and what direction we're going in. So if you reference the edit, we're jumping from scene to scene to scene in kind of a montage of what he's thinking. But me as a technical person, I like to break up in terms of, okay, we're shooting at this location first, wrap at this location, go to a next location. So I'm going scene by scene, more primarily looking at this as a technical way. And what this does is I just simply have the shot that I want or reference image that I want. And then this is the direction in terms of the talent. So this is me putting in the images I want and then looking at the camera movements as well as blocking. This is very surface level in terms of the focal length and everything like that, but we're going to get into that later by looking at our actual shot list that we developed. And one thing I love about Milanote is being able to draw on the entire board or even individual pictures or sections themselves. In this case, I want to illustrate, this is a whip pan and we're going back and forth. I can just have an arrow here and then another arrow that we're going back and simply draw that. And if I want to move these anywhere else, I can easily manipulate that too, which is really nice. So just having that hand-drawn aspect just really helps in terms of if you want something specific. And this is where I like to start in terms of a shot list. I like to pull references as well as location scout photos. And I know this doesn't set the tone and feel of it, but I like to get the shot specifically in terms of how it will look composition and not necessarily in terms of mood and feel, because I feel like we're past that. We already set the tonality. So let's actually visualize it. And like I said before, document integration is great in terms of Milanote, and we like to use Google Sheets as well as any Excel software to organize our shot list so it's in a printable manner. And I can just click this and it opens up the shot list that I'm looking at. And in terms of going deeper into shot listing, I have an edit shot list that will play out in terms of how the final edit was, and then a shooting shot list in terms of how we're going to shoot it. The director and I will sit together and then we will basically look at each scene in terms of how it's going to play out, and then I will rearrange it into a shooting shot list. And this lets everybody know everything in terms of where the location is. The scene title, the scene number and shot. So this is mainly for sound, so they can label it, as well as the second AC who has to slate anything. What the description of the shot is, so the director and I are kind of synced up about that. The camera movement, which is going to be an overhead dolly, sticks, dolly, or any other thing that is specialty. And this is a big one in terms of focal length, so I can communicate with my first, say, scene in terms of switching lenses and anything like that. So what your frame rate is, so you know that if it's a slow motion shot or not. Is there sound? And what talent is there? Do they have a specific line? And most importantly is the timing in terms of shots or a whole section of the scene. So this kind of depends on project to project and how I'm feeling in terms if I want to, go through with the first AD in terms of, hey, this shot is supposed to be here, 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 here. How much time do I have in between? This was more of a lax project in terms of we have a full day and we blocked out certain sections. Okay, we know this is going to take longer. This is what I like to do, and I like to be organized and be everything on a single page. I know this can be very intimidating in terms of looking at it, but if you break it down line by line, it's pretty shot and you're just filling out the same things that you did in your original shot list if we go back to Milanote. And like I said, Milanote is just a big bulletin board that you put all your thoughts and ideas and then reorganize them how you want. If we go back to the main section, and if this is in the pre-production process, you can add a to-do list and there's specific things that you could just mark off easily. This just really helps you stay organized in the pre-production process, which is so important when it comes to planning out a successful project. And starting any project or new board is so simple. Say if this is my new board that I want to be a shot list, I click into it and I can use one of their many templates that they offer. And the fact that this is searchable is a game changer. So I'm going to search shot list, and they have photo shoot shot list and a film shot list. And that the fact that you can cycle between the two is really cool as well. And then, okay, I really like this, and I'm gonna use this template, and it clears the template for you. And then you can upload your photos that you want, which is directly from your computer, and you can add your shots that were required. And if you just want to use a system like this, even on set, and have an iPad or something like that, you can mark that the shot you got. And the fact that this gives you templates to use, it just makes the creative process a lot easier, because if there's any resistance that put up or any barriers in terms of like, oh, I don't know how to organize my thoughts, all the tools are laid out for you so you can just be creative. Now, finally, the biggest thing about this resource is that it's free with no time limit. And if you're looking to sign up, you can use the link in the description. And if you're using this for your project, let us know in the comments below. This was just a brief look at one part of the pre-production process, and we hope this helps when planning your next project. Staying organized is one way to set yourself up for a successful production, but executing on a plan can be a whole different story. If you found this video interesting and want to know how you can execute on your next creative project, I have a video queued up here that you'll probably enjoy. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.